And we just poured hours and hours and hours into just more research, tagging it on, making sure people could follow it themselves and understand like this wasn't like for funsies. It's like he actually married a dude.
What was interesting about this thing, I mean, you go on this, I mean, I don't want to call it a treasure hunt, but you go on this really exhaustive trip, this research into Brigitte Macron, who, by the way, a lot of people in France agree with you.
Oh, they know.
Of all political stripes. And by the way, gay people, trans, like this is not like a lot of people are like, one of the journalists who looked into this was a gay journalist. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, something's up here. Something's up.
Oh, it's more than up. It is like 1,000% true. Or else the way that he could have stopped the entire docuseries, for those people who haven't like watched it, we then wrote back to the president and his mister at the Élysée Palace and said, I'm glad you opened up lines of communication. We're not interested. We're not in the business of defaming anyone.
Right.
I would make a fool of myself.
Right.
So if you would just kindly answer this yes or no question, like, were you born a woman, a female, Brigitte? We'll include this and we'll stop the series. They declined to do it.
Right.
So who would not stop if I'm like, I'm about to do this huge piece and you can stop it by simply answering yes or no, but they couldn't do that because then they would have been lying on record. It would have opened up way more issues. And unfortunately, he's not familiar with law in America, but in order to reach that actual malice standard, you have to show that we acted in reckless disregard for the truth. You refuse to say the truth. I mean, it was just this pompous 100-page, we don't have to answer whether or not like Brigitte is a woman or a man. What a bizarre thing to say.
It's such an odd story because what it does, what's very interesting about the story to me, there's many layers to it. And what it really calls into question is, how much do we know about the people who run our lives?
Nothing.
So this is what's really interesting to me. These people are introduced at some point as the best option to lead whatever. I think one of the reasons Trump was so popular is that people knew him for 30 years. Love him, hate him. Multiple wives, this, that, and the other. You know, people say nasty things about him. People adore him, but they know him. He's not, you know, certain people, Bill Clinton is governing the smallest state in America and is then thrust into the spotlight. Barack Obama, a lot of people on the right wing just emerge and they become, you know, a household name immediately. We don't know. No one is doing a lot of research into the backstories of any of these people.
Right.
And when we do, we're attacked. You're being attacked. It's like it's the craziest. I'm like,
insane.
What is happening?
And it's so much crazier because there's stuff that I can't say on record just yet.
Of course.
I'll tell you off camera, but it's
Please.
gotten even crazier in terms of like Emmanuel has really come undone because he has never been this exposed. Everyone kind of already knew in France because in France it was being like it was a bubble, but the journalists again on the left were the ones that fell down the hole as they were trying to write these honestly, they were trying to prop up Brigitte. They were trying to write these feminist pieces about Brigitte, and then suddenly, they're like, oh, they were trying to do like the Michelle Obama, oh, this is amazing for women. And then when they tried to do any bit of research, they fell down a hole because the person didn't exist. And then suddenly they were being called into the Élysée Palace. Like imagine I'm going to write this glowing piece about Ivanka Trump and her childhood.
Right.
And suddenly you get called in and you have Secret Service being like, what are you working on?
Right. And there's no photos.
You can't do, here's what you're going to write. And let me tell you how it's going to go. And people were going, this is weird. Why can't I find or confirm anything? Why are they locking down yearbooks? Imagine if you were like, I'm going to write about Candace. I'm like, I'm going to Stanford High School. And then suddenly like Stanford High School starts locking down yearbooks. Something's not right here. This is not, it should be very easy to fact check that somebody existed.
It's very easy to find at least a few
cheerleading
photos
maybe
of somebody.
I don't know, you in the hospital when you gave birth to your 3 kids. Isn't everybody take that first photo?
But you also go into this thing. And by the way, you know, some of this is, and you've just, when you're doing this, the sense of humor, I don't know if you know how funny it is, but it is, I mean, it's laugh out loud. And I meet the staff at these hotels where we're all just watching, and people like the richest people in the world, like, hey, our room services, we're like, can you relax? We're on episode 3. There's 6 episodes. We have a lot to do. But it's very funny you deliver this stuff. First of all, this idea that really struck me about this whole thing was, number one, she gets together with him. He's like 15, right? So
it's already weird. It started
it's
weird.
Already like a huge problem.
It's like you're 40 and he's 16. So even if this was above board, he's 14, you're 40, we got a problem.
Huge problem. But then this is what really makes me laugh. It is, and Candace, if you haven't watched this, you gotta watch it because she handles this in a very funny way. It's sold that this is like a voluptuous model that like is on, like no one could resist this woman. Like every guy in class is gonna be looking at this woman going like, this woman is voluptuous and really attractive and like she's just
Claudia Schiffer.
Claudia Schiffer.
Yeah.
And then the photos come out of Brigitte Macron and immediately you go, they're lying about everything. Like everything's a lie. Like you see this and immediately you go, wait a minute, hold on. Everything seems to be a lie. We've all seen beautiful women and we know what good-looking women look like. There's nothing wrong. You know what I mean? It's like, this isn't a voluptuous French.
This is a gym teacher, a PE teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, they already, when they were trying to run Emmanuel, they knew they had to justify this weird age gap. And so the press went out.
Which again was 48 and 15.
It was, at best, they were trying to tell 40 and 14, okay? At best.
Which is illegal.
But actually,
maybe not there,
it's 48 and 14 because we know
that's
that
the craziest.
once you get to the end of it, you realize, this is Jean-Michel Trogneau. But if she actually had been Brigitte, the identity that she stole, then it would have been 40 and 14. So they first went to the press and wrote a bunch of confusing articles like, oh, actually, no, he was 15. And they sold him as this like virtuoso Mozart. Right. And she was just supposed to be, according to the press, if you just read the articles and nobody actually found pictures of her, this just irresistible, drop dead Claudia Schiffer, sexy. All the boys, imagine their hormones running, they're horny. Like, we love this teacher. She's so hot. And then you see the actual photos of her.
No, it's crazy.
And you're like, no boy. No boy, not one boy at this school, not even one boy at this school was into this. So what is this? Why did the press even lie to us about that?